Hello everybody and welcome to Twitch Tales episode 87. Where did we leave off in Twitch Tales episode 86? Well, Apis has just been to the elemental plane of Earth. The reason for being there is that they are currently in an area of magical forest known as the Drenvale, the Drenlark is what this forest is called. In this Drenlark forest, they came across an abandoned village and a unicorn guardian and a wood elf hermit who were living in this village and protecting it. It seems like this village is of great historical significance and great planar significance as well. Dotted around this village are several sentinels, gigantic statue-like magical devices that protect the village against various different extraplanar threats. Some of these sentinels, however, have been broken and degraded over time, and so it is the job of this unicorn Julius and this elven hermit Seed to fix these sentinels. Seed is the only one in the village with thumbs enough to hold large tools, however, and so he has been finding it particularly difficult on his own. So when you turned up, you were a welcome addition to the village, however temporarily that you'll be here. So Seed required your help, asked for your help, and you helped him to fix an Earth Sentinel. This Earth Sentinel made the planar portals between the material plane and the Earth plane a little more stable, and so you have been to the Earth plane to recruit more help, yet more people for #Team Thumbs. You, while there, were searching for two purposes really. One was that you needed a certain type of igneous rock called ignesite. You needed some rock to fix the Fire Sentinel with. And you also needed someone who was proficient in shifting Earth, some kind of Earth elemental perhaps, to come back with you to the material plane and help you to fix the Air Sentinel. The Air Sentinel being a huge cave underground in the likeness, the carved out likeness of one of these elven founders. But the cave itself had been collapsed in, and a lot of the rock and dirt was needing to be excavated now, and the surrounding walls of this cave needed to be reformed in the likeness of this woman. So you went to the Earth plane. You were successful in finding both an Earth Genasi who was willing to come back to the material plane with you, a creature called Spir, and you were also successful in finding a large vein of ignesite, which Spir helped you to excavate, and then your friend Seed, this wild-shaping druid, managed to hold a bunch of this heavy ignesite rock and then shift himself into the form of an earth elemental himself, so that he could absorb some of those elements and reduce his carry capacity. One of the tricks of being a wild-shaping druid, everything you are wearing or carrying you can choose to absorb into your body when you wild shape. So he helped you to get this ignesite home with you, and we ended off with you climbing up a flaming chimney to get back out of the Earth plane and into the material plane. And just as your hands touch down on the earthen ground and pull yourself back out of the pit from which you entered the Earth plane, you find yourself back on the material plane. Climbing back up onto the edge of the pit and coiling your rope up. That is where we left off. So, Apis, what would you like to do? Spir is around you. Spir is nearby and looking in absolute wonder at the surroundings of the material plane, the first time that it has ever been here. They are quite the wanderer on their own plane of existence. They move around a lot and they explore. They meet with people. They're interested in people and places and new experiences. But Spir, despite all of their new experiences, has never been to the material plane before. So they are looking around. What time of day is it? It is, let's see, what's your survival modifier? You're proficient in survival, you are in a woods, so I don't suppose forest bonus would apply to working at the time of day. You are proficient in survival though, so without a check, I'll say that you managed to use the sunlight to tell you what time of day it is. You know that it is winter time, and you take that into account when you're calculating the angle of the sun and whatnot. It's probably late evening, approaching sundown. The sky will be so freaky for Spir. Yeah, Spir has been surrounded by rock on all sides for their entire life, and seeing sky is a very probably agoraphobic experience for them. We should tell Spir to stay put while we look around for Julius. Does it look like it's the same season? It definitely is still winter. Whether it's the same winter or not is yet to be shared. Welcome to the material plane, you say. Hey Spir! Welcome to the material plane. Spir, sort of startled out of their reverie of just standing there, almost is reminded that you're there. Thank you. This is a new experience for me. Yes, I know. You stay here for a second. I need to find a friend. And you look around for trying to get your bearings as to where you're standing and which direction you should head off for Julius. At this point, you notice two things. Because you've got a high perception. Yeah, you've got a high perception. So you notice two things. Number one, Seed is not standing with you anymore. Seed has started moving away, still in Earth Badger form, and has started moving at a relatively quick pace. Not exactly sprinting, but rushing. And the second thing you notice is in the direction Seed is moving, there is smoke rising from the tree line, like quite some ways away, but there is some smoke. How long were we on the Earth plane compared to the material plane time frame? You're going to have to work that out, aren't you? You don't have a watch. Fall or winter? I thought it was fall when we arrived here. Nope, it was winter when you arrived here. It was like the early days of winter. I think it was even the first of winter. It was like late fall is what I described. You looked around and saw saw the leaves and deduced that it was probably late fall based on the survival check at the time. Is it the direction of Seed's home? It is not. The smoke is not in the exact direction of Seed's home, no. It's in the general direction, like that side of the compass, but not like direct from here to Seed's home. Not that you exactly know the cardinal directions. We say to Spir, look, we need to move. Make sure you stay close to me. After we just said, stay here, I need to go find a friend. You immediately turn back and redact that and say, actually, we need to move. Stay close to me. It's not safe for you to wander around here on your own. Oh, interesting. Tree of Dave says stay here till we get back, and Redial says come with me. So we're gonna have to put this to a vote. Thumbs up for get Seed to follow you along, and thumbs down for get Spir. Did I say Seed? I meant Spir. Get Spir the Earth Genasi to follow you. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Get Spir the Earth Genasi to stay here until you get back. All right. The majority of people saying yes. Let's get Spir to come along. You're guessing that this is an effect of the Fire Sentinel. It may well be. So as you shout this to Spir, you set off running after Seed. Your tiny 25-foot movement legs and Seed's dashing as an earth elemental are not conducive to you catching up. So you are running, but Seed is running faster, and he's getting through the trees, and he's out of sight before long. But luckily, you have the smoke that's pouring up into the sky to aim towards. Now, to be clear, this is not like a huge, thick, black plume of smoke. It's not like an entire raging inferno is happening, but there is clearly some kind of fire nearby that is big enough to be a problem, it seems. We can now move to 30 now with our bonus section. That is a very good point, Reed. Well remembered. As a hill dwarf, or a ground dwarf, as they're called in my world, you have the benefit of the recent world building that I've been doing on dwarves. I've been fleshing out dwarves and making them feel a little bit more unique to my world. As part of that, the ground dwarves have a feature where, because they've evolved out in the open plains and the rolling hills rather than up in the mountains and things, they are a little bit faster than than the other dwarves. You have a 25-foot movement speed base, but you have a bonus action on each of your turns. If you're not doing anything else with your bonus action, you can take a bonus action to move an extra 5 feet. So you've got a 30-foot movement for all intents and purposes, unless you need your bonus action for anything else that turn, in which case you move a little bit slower. Is our bee Mel around the pit? No, Mel is not. Mel is not nearby. You would have to find or call out for, or some other way get in touch with Mel in order to bring her back. She is nowhere to be seen. I will have. Let's see. I'll have you make a perception. Actually, let me roll something else real quick behind the GM screen, as it were. A little bit, and then okay. Now I'll have you roll a perception, a survival check. So let me turn on the dice cam. That is an 18. 18 plus your survival is plenty enough. As you rush through the grasses and such around the, you probably would get a forest bonus on this as well. It would be in the high 20s there. As you run, notice that the ground is a little softer, a little wetter, a little tiny bit more slippery than it was when you entered the hole. It seems like there has been precipitation. It seems like the ground of a forest after a day or so of rain. And when you entered the hole to the material plane, it was the morning. It was like round about noon from memory, and when you entered, it was not raining, as far as you know. So you gather with your high survival there that you have been gone long enough to have missed a day of rain, it seems. So it may be the next night, the next evening that you've been gone, like a day and a half, perhaps. From your perspective on the Earth plane, you were gone for, I want to say it was around 10 hours or so. I can't remember exactly. You were gone for at least like half a day on that plane of existence, and so you were expecting to come back around about this time, but judging from the aftermath of the weather, it seems like you've been gone for a little longer than that. I thought it was raining. Yeah, you might be right there, fair lady. Either way, you deduce from the weather as it was now, as it was at the time, the weather is now, and the ground, with your high 20s survival skill, you're able to put those things together and deduce that you've been gone for more than a day. But how much more than a day, you don't know yet. All right, so you are trying to keep up with Seed, trying to rush in the direction of the smoke, and I'll carry over that high survival check into your navigating through a forest easily enough. It's not long before you arrive at what the source of this flame is, because you can see that there is just a huge swath of the canopy of the forest is ablaze. Thankfully for you and the rest of the forest, it has rained recently, and it's winter, reducing the heat and the fuel needed for this fire. And so it's not growing throughout the forest. It's not creating this huge forest fire. It's rather remarkable, given the cold temperature and the dampness around you, that that anything is caught at all. But where there is smoke, there is fire, indeed. Where there is smoke, there is fire. And so you have found the flame, and the trees are ablaze. It is probably a section of about three or four trees that are ablaze, and around it, towards the base of it, you can see that there are several animals, several critters of the forest that are standing around in like a ring, in what would normally be like an unusual behavior for forest animals, but you know that these forest animals are not like most. They have a slightly more aware sense of who they are and what they're doing and what they've been tasked with doing by the guardians of this forest, namely a giant unicorn that you've a golden white unicorn that you have seen many a time before, and now you see frantically running around this circle of creatures, essentially stopping every so often and like flicking his horn and flicking his mane, and then he continues on around and he flicks his horn and he stamps the ground a couple times and then he runs around, and you can see that these critters are starting to push back, and as more critters arrive and they join this ring of animals around the trees that are on fire. I'll have you make an Arcana check. You don't have proficiency in Arcana, so just a straight intelligence. 13 plus 3, not bad. So with a 16, you can tell that Julius is... With a 16, you can tell that Julius is performing some kind of ritual or rite, and he is utilizing the living forms of the animals of the forest to sort of as an extension of himself and as an extension of this ritual. He's using them as kind of like a ritual circle. You can also tell that the fire of the forest is being kept abated isn't quite the right word. It's being kept contained within this ring of animals. So as the fire is rushing, sort of pushing outwards, this ring of animals is being forced to grow as well. So he's calling on other animals of the forest to come and join this growing ring of animals to keep the fire contained. Seed has enough wild chips to water elemental. I'm afraid not. Seed is currently in his earth elemental form. Is there a body of water nearby to help try put out the fire? There are water sources, not like right here with you, but there are some that are relatively close. Depending on how you would want to transport that water, though, is a different matter. It's the canopy of the trees that are on fire, not the trunks. And so to get the water up onto the trees is a slightly other situation. However, you are noticing with your high survival modifier, you are noticing even passively that the clouds above you are darkening as Julius is performing this ritual. Is Julius doing it on purpose? No, Julius seems to be in contain the fire mode. It is not a controlled burn. It seems like Julius has arrived to try and put this fire out. And as you see the clouds darkening and the rain clouds forming, it very quickly starts to open up, the heavens open as it were, and it starts to rain on this particular section of the forest. Julius, what's going on? How can I help? And you hear telepathically from Julius, I'm containing it. It shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. It's the third one. It's the third one in as many days now. Ask Spir to make a fire break around the ring. Spir, could you help? Just as you're turning to Spir to get him to help, the rain starts to come down in sort of sprinkles at first, and then it starts to very quickly the heavier raindrops start. How long were we gone? And Julius says, I haven't seen you in about 3 days. And there've been 3 fires in that time? Yes. This is the second one today, and there was one yesterday. Right. Well, we've got what we need to fix the fire sentinel. We could run and try and fix it while you're containing this thing. It will take time to fix it, I'm sure. So, probably several days, as the others have. Who is this? He says, gesturing his horn towards Spir, and he seems to be slowing up his panic state now that he's managed to control the weather. The ritual he was performing was a control weather spell that to get it to rain on this fire. Looking at him, you aren't super proficient at reading Julius's body language or facial expressions, given he's a unicorn, but you are starting to get to know him a little bit better over the few days that you've been in Seed's village, and you're just getting the general impression from his tired demeanor that he is pretty exhausted. It seems like controlling weather a couple of times a day is a pretty exhausting process. But he slows his panic mode to a trot and then to a walk as he just kind of wanders over to you guys and gestures towards Spir. This is Spir. They've agreed to help us fix some of our problems. Why the long face? Are these fires natural or did someone cause them? Neither. They are extensions of the difficulties that are caused by the plane of fire being not yet fixed, the sentinel to it not being fixed, the plane of fire being unstable. The connections between here and the plane of fire are weakening, it seems. I think, I'm not an expert in this, but I think that the closer we get to fixing the sentinels, the more the remaining broken ones, the more we see the effect of them being broken. While they were all broken, the planes were able to manipulate, or that's not the right word, the planes were able to interact with this plane at will or wildly. But doing so, all four of them, it meant that they sort of cancelled out one another, or they were competing for. I'm not sure. All I know is that since we fixed the water sentinel, the cases of us seeing elementals from the other planes started to increase. And in the last few days, since fixing the Earth Sentinel as well, the winds have been uncontrollable and forest fires have begun. If we fix the Fire Sentinel, I think we can expect to see a lot more of the air elementals coming through, being a problem, until we at least fix all four of them. A balanced chaos, yes, kept in balance. This could be a good opportunity for our new friend to show us what they can do then. Would burying the fire in earth solve it for now? I don't know how you're going to bury a tree that's on fire, but he turns away from you, and you don't hear his voice anymore because he speaks telepathically, and he seems like he's turned to Spir, because Spir is just sort of looking at him in absolute wonder, just has been standing there silently with his mouth open the whole time. He turns towards Spir, and you see on the expression of Spir like they have realized that something is in their head now and talking to them. Yes. No, not at all. Are you the one in charge here? It is a pleasure to meet you. And Spir sort of gives this sort of crosses their legs over and then kind of leans forwards in this semi-bow, semi-curtsy kind of thing. Oh, sorry, I didn't. This is new for me. I've never spoken to. And then Spir shuts up. You can see Spir's lips are still kind of moving a little bit, like they're mouthing the words that they're now saying in their head. You can probably pick up on the fact that Julius is communicating with them directly in a one-on-one telepathy kind of a way. And has just told Spir, hey, you don't need to answer aloud. Like, I can hear your thoughts, so you can just speak to me in here. And Spir's not used to it. Eventually, Julius turns away from Spir and turns back towards you, Apis, and says, Apis, I thought we'd made it clear about the dangers of bringing people to this village. I understand that you don't have the same abilities as I to vet certain creatures for their intentions, I suppose. He's not in the village, though. Yes, and I'm glad that I ran into you before you got to the village. Here in the forest, I can keep an eye on them. I don't get ill intention or maleficence from him. Them. So I think it should be fine. I think we got away with it this time. I just want to impress upon you that next time we may not be so lucky. Creatures of other planes particularly can pull one over, I think is the expression. They can deceive relatively quickly and easily. When we are not used to reading certain creatures' behaviors and expressions, it can be difficult to tell when they are using us, lying. He wasn't going to go to the village. We would never bring him to the village. Not without your permission. I appreciate that. Well, then no harm, no foul. Let's keep Spir away from the village for now. Over time, perhaps they could earn their trust, and perhaps they may be of use around the village as well. But let's keep them to the Sentinels for now. And also, let's keep knowledge of the Sentinels and what they can do to a minimum, shall we? Let's get them to help and see how we go from there. If I'd had any impression that they would have done harm, I certainly wouldn't have brought them. I know. And thank you, Apis, for the work you've been doing. Seed has been great help, but he's not the smartest. Talking to him and arranging plans is difficult at times. And so I'm grateful to have you here to help move things along, perhaps. Are you able to tell us, Julius? Do you believe Spir is genuine? There was something about them that made part of me suspicious. The way that they asked to speak with people in charge, or the leaders, or the rulers, or they seemed interested in power. Yes, Spir seems genuine. Their intentions with these rulers, or the ones in charge, it does have some concern for me, but that's why I'll be keeping an eye on him. Do you want someone to watch while they're sleeping? This is all telepathic, by the way. Do you want someone to watch them while we're sleeping, or should we stay with them? Or... I think keeping an eye on them while sleeping is important, but I can have people do that already. And he semi-gestures around to the animals that are now dispersing from the ring now that the rain has extinguished the flames. Right. Sounds like a plan. Well, we'll need a place to rest outside of the village. Do you know a good place, perhaps? The forest here is safe, and I'm sure a ranger such as yourself is accustomed to sleeping in the dirt. Yes, I can set somewhere up. I just wondered if there was an old settlement or a building or anything away from the elements in the winter. I'm afraid not. No, the only buildings are in the village. Do I remember correctly that Spir is working for a genie? Yes, you got the impression. He told you last time. Spir told you last time that they were a diplomat of sorts, an ambassador, a mouthpiece, a face for a genie sultan. Is there a place is there a place around the forest that fire would be okay to use? I mean, in your judgment, keep the open flames safe, and I will allow it. The difficulty of fires is that non-magical flames I can extinguish or light at will within my purview. This forest is... I have been here long enough now that this forest is a domain of mine, of sorts. I have certain control over all creatures within it, perceptions and knowledge about certain things that are going on in it. I can light and extinguish campfires at will, open flames. But these ones, and he looks up at the smouldering, sizzling leaves that are every time there's a droplet of rain on one of them, crackling wood from the burning trunk. These fires are elemental in nature, and they are otherworldly, extraplanar. I've been struggling to contain them, and certainly to extinguish them. The sooner we can get that fire sentinel fixed, the better. Right. Well, perhaps we can let Spir visit the Myconids. I expect that they'll enjoy the experience. Yes, I imagine so. Julius, if we set a fire somewhere and just let it burn in a safe, controlled way, could it counteract the wildness of the random weather effects going on? Could it be like an outlet for the flames to use if we're sort of satiating the fire plane or something? It's a good thought and perhaps worth a try, but it could just as easily do the opposite and give the fire more of a weak point in between planes. It could give the fire somewhere to enter through. Normally, if the portals between planes are stronger, more reliable, the places where the planes overlap tend to be that which on one plane resembles the other, and that is in the heart of a fire, for instance. We're still morphing into a Myconid, aren't we? Yes, we are, yes. And it has been maybe 20 minutes since you came back to this plane, so you will have gotten back 2 of your hit points through that. What kind of elemental is Spir? Spir is an Earth Genasi. So he is a humanoid from the Earth plane. Alright, well, let's get started on that Fire Sentinel then. Seed has all the rock on him. You're definitely going to need to sleep first, as Apis, you have been you've been adventuring and traveling and moving through the rock plane for a significant portion of today. From your perspective, it's been at least like 10 to 12 hours of like extra planar travel. You've definitely got portal lag. Right, Seed, and the Earth Badger comes over. We need to head to the Fire Guardian, you say, trying to avoid the words Sentinel, since Julius has told you, like, let's not tell Spir too much about them. Like, let's head to the old Fire Guardian statue, shall we? We could do to drop off the rock that you've got, and we can rest nearby and start fixing it first thing in the morning. The Earth Badger thing nods a little bit. Julius turns to start leaving. You say, Julius, are you able to deal with the effect coming from the airplane the way that you can the fire? He turns back towards you and says, I can control weather a few times a day, and doing so has currently been keeping the winds from being too dangerous. Some of my critters have been injured, and I've been tending to them. It's a tiring time, but not one that I'm being overrun by. I can handle what's being thrown at us currently. Right. And if this trend is going to persist and magnify with each sentinel fixed, does it mean that the closer we are to fixing the last one, there's going to be an overwhelming amount of elemental aberrations or beings? Julius says that's something I'm concerned about, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, I suppose. I'm hopeful that we can fix the last two in quick succession so that there is little time for problems. Right. Spir, if I may ask, what is it you eat? You'll probably need food while you're staying here, I imagine. That is a very good point. I haven't really thought about the world building of the Genasi yet. I haven't fully fleshed them out. They are earth elementals. Earth elemental humanoids. So what would they eat? I feel like they would eat... my first instinct is that they eat minerals. They eat rock minerals and such. But that it has to be softened stuff, kind of like their cooking process. I feel like perhaps with the cooking process with the Earth Genasi and the Earth Elementals is kind of like the equivalent to the cooking process for humans, in that you are pre-digesting the food, essentially. One of the reasons we cook food is that it kind of takes a lot of the energy out of our bodies needing to do it, and sort of breaks down certain bonds and proteins and stuff that your body is going to break down anyway, and it pre-digests some of the food. And so I think for an earth elemental, it's probably similar. Like, they take some sort of hardened mineral and rock, and then they have to soften it. Maybe there's a process through which it needs to be turned from hardened minerals and rock into more of like soil, which can then be consumed. Something like that, maybe. What do you guys think? Mud soup, dirt cake, yeah, something like that maybe. That could be cool. Ground up rock sounds about right. Yeah, like crushed, like sand and stuff, like handfuls of stuff that you could eat and without like crushing down on rock. Earthworm spaghetti, maybe, yeah. I think that Genasi in particular, as opposed to the other types of earth elementals, I think Genasi in particular could probably consume certain organic materials as well as mineral ones. I think they just prefer their nutrients would have to come through silicon-based ingredients rather than carbon-based. Probably. Salt and granite sprinkles, yeah. Hopefully it doesn't eat mushroom people. No, I don't think so. Chemicals can change the nature of rocks, yeah. Lichen could be some type of spice for them, yeah, kind of like that. That's cool. Salty rocks, tasty. Metal is tasty because it's salty. Get him a salt lick. Yeah. So yeah, you turn to Spir and you ask him what he eats, and he lists off a bunch of different foods that you've never heard of because they're all kind of in Terran, and so a lot of them just sound like the crunching and grinding of rocks, different rock types crushing together. That's how he makes up his language, his native tongue, and he says, "I'm sorry, I don't know what they're called in the common tongue." Or in the Dwarven tongue, as it is, because he can only speak to you in Dwarvish. You say, all right, well, is it like rocks? And you point to the ground, and he says, I eat things of the earthen plane, yes. Lots of minerals or silicates, yeah. He said that while we do our automatic ranger foraging, we can also start picking up rocks and such for Spir. Yeah, you can now start to pick up pebbles and stones and rocks and things and start testing a little smorgasbord of things to see if he's interested in any of that stuff. Can Julius create food, drink like a cleric? I think he can from memory, yes. Algae and moss soup. There's a huge amount of vitamins and minerals in algae. Yeah, I mean, that's probably something that he uses then. That's kind of what I was thinking when I said that he can eat organic matter as well. I think the minerals that he gets are mainly from the dirt and the rock and the silicates that he eats. And then I think that Earth Genasis would also supplement that diet with certain foods that grow underground in caves, like algae and lichen and mushrooms. So I think he would eat mushrooms, but he wouldn't eat mushroom people. He's not like he's not a mindless beast that just eats whatever food is in front of him, regardless of whether it's sentient or not. He eats sulfur, so he'd have horrid breath. Could Julius create appropriate food for whatever individual they choose? I would imagine so, given that it's a magical spell. One would have to imagine that they can choose what sort of food to create. Let me just look up the spell real quick. Food. Create food and water. It is a cleric spell, a paladin spell, an artificer spell, a circle of the land spell, and a genie spell. Indeed. It's a 3rd level spell. You create 45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of water on the ground or in containers within range, enough to sustain up to 15 humanoids or 5 steeds for 24 hours. The food is bland but nourishing and spoils if uneaten after 24 hours. The water is clean and doesn't go bad. Alright, so I will say then up to 15 humanoids or 5 steeds, and it just says 45 pounds of food. So yes, it would definitely be, by the nature of it being a holy spell, a divine spell, and the nature of it being magical, it is going to create the sort of food that could sustain up to 15 humanoids of your choice. So Julius would definitely have access to that spell if he hasn't wasted himself, if he hasn't exhausted himself casting the things he's cast already. Still want to see what he makes of a goodberry if Seed can make some. Yeah, Seed could make some. He's currently in his earth elemental form and doesn't want to drop it until you get to the fire elemental, so can't make goodberries right now. I wouldn't eat a talking carrot. Yeah, exactly. If you cook it first, then I'll stop it talking. That's dark. Julius, do you know where Mel is at the moment? Is she around? And Julius stops and closes his eyes and says, yes, she's about 3 miles north. Made it forage clay before? Yeah. Seed always has good berries on him because he fed the fireflies. Yeah, and you're in earth elemental form. Could you send Mel to meet us at the fire guardian, please? And Julius says, yes, certainly. And he closes his eyes, and there's this kind of almost imperceptible white light that kind of exudes from his horn, and then it kind of like pulses, like it gets larger and softer. This sort of aura of light around his horn, and then it reduces back in again. And he says, she'll meet you there. So you set off towards the fire sentinel, avoiding the village on your way. You head through the woods. It starts to get dark around you as you walk. Thankfully, you're in a unicorn's forest, so there's no chances of random encounters with evil beings. Evil beings are kept driven away by the presence of a unicorn. And as you arrive a little while later, you've probably walked for another, let's say, half an hour to give you another 3 hit points. You arrive at the base of the broken fire sentinel. It is about a 20-foot diameter cauldron, essentially, of rock. And this rock has been previously carved into the shape of an elven face and head. And the top of the head is missing to the top of the cauldron, and when lit appropriately, the flames lick up and create the sort of fiery hairdo, very fiery hairstyle of this original elven founder that created this particular fire sentinel. However, the cauldron itself has been smashed and broken in huge chunks. You can kind of make out that it's still like a face. It looks a little bit like Phantom of the Opera mask. It's like half of a face and the rest of it's caved in and broken. And the cauldron was once like filled with these rocks, but has since, in Seed's much work before you got here, before you met him, Seed's managed to bring out a lot of that rock onto the outside so that it's sort of an empty place to go from. And it's just lying around in piles now. Seed has kind of done some work into sorting out the rock to see if any of it could be fixed back on again. But he didn't have the right sort of connecting rocks, which is the ignesite that you have. You arrive there to find that there is a giant bee about the size of a potbelly pig. She is resting on top of one of the intact parts of this fire cauldron sentinel thing. Just kind of curled up and waiting. She's found just a relatively warm place to just kind of gently buzz to herself. Mel! I've missed you so much. I've got so much to tell you. At your voice, she looks your way and starts up, flies over to you.
Hey, Piss, it is good to see you again. It has been a while. How are you?
I'm great. I hope you're behaving well.
I am behaving, yes. Why would I not behave?
No, I hope you're behaving well.
I don't understand, Apis. Why would I not be behaving? I would not be Do you think I would behave poorly? Why would I behave poorly?
No, it's like behave.
It doesn't translate to Sylvan.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Spir doesn't understand Sylvan. Spir does not understand Sylvan, yes. So he just hears you speaking in this this sort of French-like language to this giant bee, and this giant bee speaking back. I really want a life-size Mel plushie. Yeah, I have intentions to make one at some point when I feel like it would be worth the money. If you guys want to show me that you would actually buy it by purchasing the merch that I already have, then I might be more inclined to actually make different types of merch. You introduce Spir to Mel. Mel, this is a new friend, Spir. Spir, this is Mel. You say those in two different languages, having to switch between Sylvan and Dwarvish. We're really testing Apis' ability to be quadlingual now. You just need someone to speak Draconic to, and then you've used all of your languages. Spir is still calling us Archer. Yes, I believe so. But he didn't understand when Mel called you Apis either, because he wasn't speaking the right language. Rob, remember you added stuff to the merch store? I did actually add stuff to the merch store recently, so go and check it out. There are new Twitch Tales stickers in the merch store, and if you head to the Redbubble, you can find those Twitch Tales logos on all sorts of things, hats and clothing and things too. So make sure to check out the merch store periodically, because there is new stuff on it. Is Apis tired and mixing the languages a bit? I think probably, yeah. Just like swipping and swapping and which is, how do you say it in Dwarvish? Dwarvish is my first language. Why do I not remember? Oh yeah, it's. All right. So Seed, having arrived at the fire elemental with you, will shift back out of earth elemental form and drop all of these huge tumbling rocks of ignesite by the base of the cauldron. You can tell that it is the same or similar material to the stuff that the cauldron is already made of, which is certainly going to help. And now that you have got a hell of a lot more of it, along with the stuff that was already left here, you're going to have an easier time of fixing it up. You're still going to need to find some way to glue all these pieces together, it seems. But for now, at least, you have your building materials. Whew, thank you for all your help, Seed. I hope you enjoyed your trip to the Earthplane. Oh yes, Seed enjoy trip Earthplane. Earthplane is dark, and Seed like caves. Seed like explorer caves. Right. Well, thank you. Maybe you can get back there sometime. I'm gonna need to rest now because it's getting late and I'm tired. Do you have any good berries? I'm feeling fairly hungry and I really don't want to go out and hunt right now. And Seed have goodberry, yes. And Seed pulls out of his pouch a couple of little what do they look like in my mind? They're like red marbles essentially. What is the like a rosy blueberry? And he hands one out to you and one to Spir, and Spir looks at it and
What do I do with this?
this is food, and it's enough food for a whole day of nutrients and nutrition. So you eat it, and then you don't need to eat anymore.
This is not enough food for me.
No, it's magically it will be.
Oh, it's magical. Okay. Wow. I'm not hungry anymore. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? Pretty magical. You also heal 1 hit point from eating a good berry. Spir, do you sleep?
I sleep, yes.
Would they sleep? Just world building purposes. Yeah, I think they would need sleep. So you are at the Fire Sentinel. You have dropped off your Ignisite. You've had enough food for the day. What is your plan? Are you doing any downtime stuff, or are you going to sleep right here by the Sentinel so you can crack on it as soon as you wake up? How many hours do you need to sleep? You know from being on the Earth plane and trying to talk to him about distances and time it takes to traverse from one place to another, that the people of the Earth plane don't use the same times that we do, the time measurements, and so hours is a little bit rocky for him. He says,
I sleep as long as I need to sleep until I'm woken again.
Right. Okay. Do you need anything in particular to sleep?
I can find something myself, don't worry.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna go to sleep then. Awkwardly get your bedroll out and just kind of lay something out at the base of a tree nearby. Spir, you can see just like Earth glides into the ground a little bit and starts to explore around looking for places to sleep, and then shifts back out of the ground a little bit further out.
I can find somewhere just down here that's comfortable,
and then just kind of like he's like they're rustling and nestling into like a comfy bed, but they do so into the ground itself and just kind of like tuck themselves down into the ground, leaving their head and shoulders just up as if they're using the ground as a blanket. Epis will just sleep here on the dirt. Yeah, exactly. Spir, in case it rains or anything, could you? Is it easy enough for you to make shelter to sleep in? I think so. Yeah, he's got mold earth, so he can, with a very limited, with a very small amount of time, maybe let's say 10 minutes, so you get a hit point back. They have piled up a couple of rocks. It's kind of just like a dirt hut in Minecraft. He just gets 5-foot cubes of dirt essentially and places it up around you to create a bit of walls essentially. Dice. Are we going to ask the dice something? Is that what's happening? We could ask the dice about the trustworthiness of Spir. Yeah. Could ask the dice, would Merry Gentleman be alright with Spir being around here? That's a good question. Seed has the spell slots, probably needs to get back to the village for the feast before sleeping. Yeah, the feast is going to be a bit of a problem, Cake Ladder, because you've been gone several days now, and so the part of the feast is tell the animals to come back again tomorrow, and when they came back again tomorrow and you weren't there, they wouldn't have had the command to come back again the next day after that, and so you're going to have to start again essentially with finding all your animals. So Seed says this to you. After dropping off this stuff, Seed says, Apis, Seed, go back to village now to talk and eat with animals. Seed be back in the morning to help Apis fix Sentinel, yes? You say, yeah, thank you, Seed. And Seed sets off back towards the village. Once he gets there, he discovers how long he's been gone and realizes, oh, god damn it, I'm going to have to start again with all those animals. Alright, anything else you want to do before you sleep? You have not used your dice yet today. Bing. See? 1, 2. Oh. How do I... Can I reduce that number? Oops. Oops. You have used the dice 40 times today. There's no way to reduce that number. Wonderful. Does it tick over and go back to 0 after 99? Or have you used the dice 100 times? Oops. I'll make it worse. Oops. Let's find out. Nope, you've used the dice 100 times, everybody. Maybe it ticks over if you go to 1,000. Or 256. Is it 32-bit? Maybe it's... we found a bug. Woo! Have you used the dice 150 times? It's not a bug, it's a feature. Yeah, because the best features are things that make your life worse. I need the ability to go down a number if I've accidentally clicked on it. Maybe Rob should just not click on it if we're not using it. Now tell me what to do. 200. We've used it 200 times. We've asked the dice 240. Here we go. Nope, it doesn't tick over at 256 either. It's like Cookie Clicker, Apis Clicker. Yeah, we're turning Twitch Tales into just Apis Clicker. Alright, thumbs up or thumbs down in the chat if you want to use the dice. You can ask the dice a question for those who are relatively new and don't know what I'm talking about. In our inventory below me there, you can see some bone dice. Some bone dice in a lovely wooden box that has Apis's name engraved onto it. It was given to you by the Archfey Merry Gentleman, and it contains bone dice. Bone dice created from the bones of a centaur, and they are divinatory dice. They have the purpose of you can ask them a question once per day. It works best if it's a yes/no question, but any question could theoretically work. And based on the knowledge that the Merry Gentleman knows at that particular time, the dice will answer the question truthfully at first. If you ask it multiple times in a day, say 256 times in a day, each subsequent question has a percentage chance, an increasing percentage chance of telling you a randomized answer instead. So you can't exactly 100% trust the answer that you get the second question in the day or the third question in the day, for instance. But for this first question of the day, you can ask it a question and get a truthful answer. And you haven't used it yet, as you are snuggling down in your bedroll on the dirt, connecting with the dirt of the ground, as is your wont as a partial mushroom now. That's right, Apis is partially a mushroom, in case you missed that. Apis is turning into a myconid. And because you have mushroom parts to your DNA now. You require certain things like darkness and connection to the ground and such. You snuggle down into the dirt and you're just about going to sleep when you remember, I haven't asked the dice a question yet. The overwhelming yes before says you are going to stop. You get your dice out of the bag, you open up the box, and you get your dice out. Now, what is it that you guys are going to ask? What is it that you're going to ask the dice? Is it safe for Spir to be here helping us fix the Sentinels? It's a pretty good one. Should I go full mic in it? Do we need magical planar fire to fix the fire sentinel? Very good question. Would the merry gentleman be alright with Spir being around here? It's a pretty good one. I sort of want to know more about this Myconid thing. I don't want to ask about Spir. Julius is the boss and he said it's okay. Okay, so we have categories of questions coming out. We've got ask the dice something about Spir and whether it's okay for Spir to be here. Ask the dice something about the Myconid thing that you're slowly turning into a mushroom. Ask the dice something about fixing the Sentinel itself. We don't actually know how to fix the Sentinel. Or ask, is there any other category? Currently I can just see that it's those three. Ask about Spir, ask about the Myconid thing, and ask about fixing the Sentinel. How do we make it actually fixed? Alright, that seems like the three options that are coming up, so let's put it to a poll. Question: what to ask the dice? Responses: about Spir, about Myconids, or about the Sentinel. Hiveman question: what is the last update we know about Shadridge and or our friends? Yeah, right. What do you know about Shadridge and our friends? What does Apis know about Shadridge and your friends? I don't remember which parts of my information you know and you don't know, so I won't answer the question. But everybody else in the chat, what do you know about Shadridge and the friends? The last thing you got told about what's going on there. I think the last update was from the Merry Gentleman, and he was like, you don't need to care about that. And we were like, boo to you. That's about right. We were supposed to get an update from Vala, but we were melding with mushrooms, so we didn't get it. Merry Gentleman sent them a copy of Apis and told us not to worry about it. We know what Vala told us, that there is a war front, and there was a copy of us that the Merry Gentleman apparently sent. Part of me wants to ask about Spir just to troll Wraith, but I'd be a good girl. Lovely summary, Fancy. Yes. We told him, boo to you. There was an Apis stand-in, right? Something took our place? Yes. Yeah, Merry Gentleman sent an Apis stand-in in your place to Shadridge so that they wouldn't even notice that you were gone, apparently. A faux piss. Alright, with seconds left on the question, the poll, it seems like it's an overwhelming majority that we're going to ask the dice something about the Sentinel and how to fix it. So, start your wording. Ladies and gentlemen, start your wording. What are we asking? What is the wording of the question? We're asking about the Sentinel. We're going to ask the dice something about fixing the Sentinel and the method of how to do it. But what is it you want to ask that ideally can be a yes/no question? Or like a question about an upcoming plan that you have and whether or not it would be a good idea or something like that. We could ask if we have everything we need to fix it. That's a good one. Do we have everything we need in order to fix the Sentinel? Do we have all of the materials needed to fix the Sentinel? The dice, for those who haven't been here for them to be used before, the dice will ultimately give you a wheel or woe answer. wheel usually pertains to a yes, and woe usually pertains to a no, and that can be confusing if the answer you're wanting is no. Like, is my friend dead? If you get a woe answer, which is a bunch of negative images and sounds and effects and sensations, and you get the impression of woe, you might be like, oh shit, he's dead. But what the dice have just told you is no, he's not dead. So you need to ideally word your question in such a way as the answer you want is the positive answer. We need to answer the question in a way in which the answer is positive, yes. You have been, as Apis, you have been burned too many times asking the wrong worded question and then getting an ambiguous answer and going, we got the answer, we don't know what the answer meant. We could ask, can we please have a magic YouTube tutorial video on how to fix fire sentinels? The monkey paw of that, Cinderfingers, is that you get your magic video, but it's like a 10-minute video, and the first 8 minutes is going, yo, what up YouTube, it's your boy Sentinel Fixer 89, back with another tutorial for how to fix sentinels. We're gonna crack right into it, shall we? But first, this video is sponsored by Blade Song. And Blade Song's a new app that could blah 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 blah. If you are fixing fire sentinels, what you need is Blade Song, and let's crack into it. First thing you want to do is get your ingredients. What ingredients do you need? Well, let me take you to the supermarket and I'll show you. Now, when I'm going to the supermarket, I like to, and just wasting time. I've been burned by too many YouTube tutorials. After we've asked the question we need to ask, and we experiment with the dice and ask it a question we know the answer to. I want to experiment to learn how accurate the second question each day is by doing this repetitively. You haven't done that yet, mainly because people were concerned about the cost of using these dice, whether there was a cost to it at all. Do we have all the things we need to repair the fire sentinels? All right, I think people are pretty unanimous on that. A lot of people have said it, and I don't see any other people. Any other people suggesting other things as well. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe before we continue with this fire sentinel tutorial. All right, so you are going to word the question as: do we have everything we need to fix the sentinel, using the materials we've got and the abilities of myself and the ones I know as Spir, Seed, and Julius? All right. As you think of that question, you roll the dice. As they hit the ground, as each of them taps against the ground, you are assaulted in your senses by visions, auditory hallucinations, smells, even tastes, and emotions. You suddenly feel hot in your stomach, like a real bad stomach ache. Your tongue is assaulted with the taste of a very hot pepper. Your skin feels like it's burning. You can smell burning hair. And you see a bright white light that is so bright it makes you sort of adjust your eyes. You are left with the impression, as the dice come to a rest, that the answer to your question is whoa. Are we doing this discreetly away from Spir? I imagine so, yes. This dwarf is on fire. Alright, well, you have your dice, you have your question. You have asked the 256th question of the day. Thumbs up, thumbs down, do we want to ask the dice another question to start testing the capabilities of these dice, and whether or not you will have different chances of different questions and such. You still don't know for sure whether there is a cost to using these dice, but some of Apis' synapses are getting to a point where they're okay with taking the risk. All right, definitely not a unanimous one, but it is definitely in the favor of yes. We want to use them again. So we decide for the first time. All right, let's roll them a second time in the day. Thought the Merry Gentleman told us how unreliable they were after the first go. Nope. Nope, he did not. The Merry Gentleman said no cost. The Merry Gentleman might have said no cost. A lot of Apis' synapses don't trust the Merry Gentleman saying things. I wonder if that woe implied that we need fire from the fire plane, or that it's just a coincidence. Luckily, there's daily elemental fires around here now, which are out at the moment, which would explain why it's a woe, since we don't have that yet. It could be, Redal, could be. Merry Gentleman told us that there wasn't a cost. Yeah, it's whether or not you believe him. Is the name of our unicorn friend Julius? That's what Cake-Ladder proposes. Any other question that anybody's proposing? I wouldn't do a name thing considering Fey things. Also, it's Julian. Nope, it's Julius. I remember that now because I think Julien? No, not Julien. Julius? Yes. Julie, yes. That's how I remember that it's Julius, not Julian. It took me a long time of Julian Julius before I came up with a mnemonic for remembering which the fucking thing was that I named him. Julie, yes. Julian, no. So proud of you, thank you. If we get a woe to that answer, does it mean his name's actually Julian? God damn it. How about, do we have one platinum piece with us right now? That could be a good one, Trio Dave, yeah. You don't accidentally have platinum on you, so that would be a very obvious yes or no answer. Yes, we need to ask a question we are sure we know the answer to. Does Wraith love pits? We know the question we just asked is no. So ask the same question again. That is clever, Fancy. That is clever. Just ask the same question again. Same question. Same question again. All right, thumbs up. Thumbs up for ask the same question again. Thumbs down for have we got a platinum piece on us? All right, same question again. Apis with a 3 intelligence. You remember the exact wording that you used for the question, and you word it the same way again, and you roll a dice. Wow, man. The number of times that I roll these dice and I have multiples of the same number rolled is quite remarkable. Last time I had 3 2s and 2 6s, and now I've got 3 4s and 2 3s over the 7 dice. All right. As you ask the dice the question, the visions and smells and sights and sounds, they all come to you, and they all are unpleasant and fire related as before. You get the spicy taste on your tongue, and the heat in your belly, and the blistering skin from under the heat, the blinding light. It all comes to you in the same way. What do the numbers mean, though? What indeed, Cake-Ladder, what indeed? So you've asked the dice 2 questions today. Will the Merry Gentleman get annoyed if we ask the question too many times? Is that the next question? So you think, will the Merry Gentleman get annoyed if we ask the same question? Are we going to sleep again? Are we going to sleep after the second one? We're going to try it again. Again. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Ask the dice a 3rd question of the same question. What do we prove that way? Isn't it just a chance for the second question to be true or not? It is a chance for the second question to be a randomized answer or not. All right, most people saying yes. Let's go again. Immediately regret not coming up with a question that invokes pleasant sensations. Yeah. Oh, it's not exactly unanimous, but there is It's a lot of yeses, but I can't tell for sure that that's going to be out in front. So I'm just going to put a 1 minute poll. Ask a third time. Yes or no? Ask a third time, yes or no? We could keep getting right answers because randomness includes streaks. Yep. We should keep track of multiple days worth of repeat rolls to start working out an average. Yeah, Abiz doing stats. Proud of you. Ask a third time, yes or no? Are you sure? Are you really sure? Are you really, really sure? A graph, you say? Interesting. So what could be the case is that you could have just rolled the dice are going to give you a correct answer, or you could have rolled the dice are going to give you a randomized answer and the randomized answer was the correct answer. All right. Ask a third time. The result is 60% saying yes, we are going to ask a third time. So Apis thinks about it. Apis looks across at Spir, who seems to be nuzzled into bed and sleeping. You think about not... okay, and you ask the dice a question again. You bring them up to your mouth, you ask the exact same wording of the question again a third time, and you let them loose. Alright. If we're asking a third time, we need to keep asking until we get a change in the result. Yes, probably, eh? You get a result of what seems at first... For like a tenth of a second, as the first dice hits the ground, you get a flash of a spicy taste in your mouth. Then the next dice hits, but rather than getting the smell of burning hair, you get the smell of burning bacon. Like it's a pleasant-ish smell. Then you get a bright flame in your eyes that kind of makes you squint. But then the next dice hits and you get a warming breeze across your skin, like not a breeze, the warmth from sitting near a campfire, but not so close that it's blistering your skin. You get the sound of a crackling campfire that's like comforting in a way, but then it's mixed in with the sound of like a frightened animal, and you realize it's like the sound of a forest fire, not just a calming campfire. It seems like this time you're getting a mixture of weal and woe. Oh yeah, sorry, don't forget to press the dice button. We wouldn't want to lose track of how many times we've used it today. That is an extra 3 times. You have used it 3 times today, so I better take it up to 3. There you go. You have to. Every time you use it, it's a multiple of hundreds that you've used it. All right. Ask the dice another question. Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Ask the dice the same question again, a 4th time. All right. Overwhelming no. Apis feels satiated in their curiosity, satisfied curiosity. You place your dice back in the box, and you look over to see Spir has opened an eye and is looking towards you with a look of confusion on their face. Like, why is this person playing dice by themselves? And doesn't seem to think too much of it, just thinks maybe you're playing like a solitaire version of some game, and kind of nestles into the ground a little bit more and tries to go to sleep again. Find a paper in our inventory to write down the results. We need to keep a track. Yes, you start to find paper and pen, and you write down the results of what your question was, and that will be in the form of Fancy's notes available on the Discord Twitch Tales channel. If you join my Discord and head to the Twitch Tales channel, there are pinned notes from each episode that you can review before the next episode. And I'm sure Fancy will keep track of all of those graphs, because Fancy loves graphs. Are we proficient in panpipes now? You are proficient in panpipes. You always have been. Alright, have a little prayer to Ultimes, and then go to sleep. Wonderful. Is it dream time now? It certainly is. It's dream time now. So, you have a little prayer, and you go to sleep. You you pray to Altamez, thank him for just being there for you and helping you hunt when you need it, helping you guide your way whenever you're in a forest and such. And then you go to sleep. Is it Wraith notes today? I got the impression it was fancy notes today. So there's no dream. All right. So you wake up in the morning feeling fully refreshed. Bing! Everything resets, including the dice counter. You're back up to 7 hit dice. You've got 74 hit points. You've used the dice 4 times. During the night, you are relatively comfortable because you're sleeping outside at ground level, in direct contact with the dirt, and you feel refreshed and awake when it comes to in the morning. It is what date is it? Let me check. It is still winter. It's early winter. Yeah, you're still in early winter. And so you are definitely cold. But with your blanket and dwarven sturdiness, your hardy constitution, you've managed to get a decent night's rest. In the morning, you come to and find that Spir is no longer sitting where he was. Like, you look over and see where they were. You look over and see that Spir is no longer there. You panic for a moment, being like, "Oh crap, I lost them," and your brain starts to bring out all of the doubts as to who they are and such. But then you see them just like over at the fire sentinel, just like inspecting it, and they've already started like picking up bits of broken bits and like starting to work out where the broken bits go and working out which bits are missing. What do you want to do as you get up and start packing away your bedroll? Pretend the sigh of relief as a yawn and a stretch. Thank goodness for that. Everyone else is awake. It's just you and Spir here and Mel. Seed went off back home for to deal with his morning rituals and his morning things that he needs to do, tending to his garden and stuff. You also weren't here for 3 days of tending to your garden, Seed, so that's gone down a little bit there. So you're going to need to do some maintenance work on the garden. Like a jigsaw puzzle, find the corner pieces first. Yeah, like an almost spherical cauldron-shaped jigsaw pieces. Start moving rocks while we wait for Seed to arrive. All right. Morning, Spir. Did you enjoy your first sunrise?
I did. I was awake in time to see it, and I went a little further to what are these ones called again?
And he points to the trees.
I climbed up one of these things to try and get a better view of the air ceiling.
These are trees. That's called the sky.
Yeah, sky. Yes, I knew that. The sky. Yeah, I took a better view of the sky, and it turned all sorts of cool colors.
Why is adventuring so time-consuming? Yep. Spir, do you know what we'll need to repair this statue?
I thought you said you needed ignizite.
Right, yeah. Oh, morning, Mel.
Morning, Apis. How are you today? You sleep well?
I did, thank you, Mel. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
How was the village while we were gone?
It was there. There have been fires.
She doesn't know any more information than you've already learned about what's happened since you've been gone. There's not a lot of exciting things have happened other than a couple of fires that have happened. We wake up with a desire to eat bacon for some reason. Yeah. Doesn't Seed have animated shrubs to maintain things? Oh yeah, animated shrubs would help maintain the garden a little bit. Yeah, I suppose they would. The big bright orb in the sky is called the sun.
I know the sun. I studied language of...
Spir's voice is quite difficult.
I studied language of your people when I met the dwarves. They told us about their homelands.
Explain to Spir that the village is no trespassing zone in case they were planning on exploring at any point. Yeah. Just so you know, Spir, as well, there's a village near here, but it's not. It's a no trespass zone. It's not for us to visit. So we stay out here.
Understood.
So what do you want to do? You got from the dice last night that you don't have everything you need in materials and or abilities between the lot of you to fix the Fire Sentinel to the point of working. But you don't know what it is that you're missing. You also could get to start on manipulating this stuff as is. You can see that as you stand here watching Spir before Seed arrives, there are chunks of the cauldron that have been assembled already. There are chunks of the cauldron that have been fixed. He's found certain parts that go together, and you watch as he picks up one of these parts, and he's pretty convinced that it goes here, and then he runs his hand over it, and with his Earth Genasi powers, he can turn stone into a more liquid form. Temporarily, he casts a cantrip where he can turn it into a more malleable clay-like substance, and he does that and then kind of molds it together, and then takes a step back and it holds, and then it sort of solidifies again. He molds it, he softens it up and like smooths it out like a crappy drywall. What do they call them? They've all got their own names. People who do drywall, plasterer. Yeah, like he's a shitty plasterer. He's like smoothing things out with his hands and trying his best to get it like good, and then stepping back and it solidifies, and he goes in again and like fixes it up a bit. He's definitely an ambassador or a diplomat. He can do the magic needed to plaster these rocks together, but he's obviously not experienced in it. He's not doing a very good job of it. After Seed gets here, we can ask him to stay with Spir while we discuss what else we might need with Julius, and if the recurring fires might be the answer. Yeah, maybe. Start fixing what we can and ask Julius if he knows what else we need when he gets here. Alright, so you set to work starting to fix the Sentinel. Fixing the Sentinel is essentially a skill check. It's a series of skill challenges. There is an athletics element to it because of the backbreaking nature of just picking up and moving rocks around. There is also an intelligence check to basically create the puzzle element of putting together a jigsaw puzzle of broken pieces. And there is a dexterity check using Mason's tools, if you had proficiency in that, for the chiseling up the ignicite that you've brought here into the pieces that are missing, or the bits that you need for slotting in. So it's a series of 3 checks, and then you could take the average of all of them, and that tells us how well you are doing at fixing this thing. Would solving this like a jigsaw puzzle be an investigation check? It's an intelligence, yeah. So I have some questions about the plane of Earth. I'll get to know Spir more in the meantime. Yeah, you can be chatting with Spir about the plane of Earth or whatever in the meantime as you work. So first roll of those. Let's go with the athletics check to see how well you are doing at backbreaking work of lifting and moving rocks. You are proficient in athletics, as you can see over there. You are a level 7, which means that you have a proficiency bonus of 3 onto your 1 strength. So you have a +4 to your strength check. So we're going to head over to the dice cam with a +4. What did we get? We got a 17. 17 plus 4 is 21. That is not bad at all. That is a 21 for the first one. Then your next check is your straight intelligence. Stone Cunning probably helps with the intelligence part. I will say so, yes. I will say Stone Cunning helps with your intelligence part. So this is going to be Stone Cunning. It's not exactly the history of stonework, but let's see. Yeah, it is to do with like the veins and you can match up certain like certain striations in the rock with certain other striations and be like, no, that's your knowledge of how stone normally forms. Definitely helps you with that. So I'll give you double your proficiency bonus on this, which means that you'll get a +9 to this roll. +9, which is good because that was only an 8. So 8 plus 9 is 17. So you've got a 17 and a 21 for a current total of 38. So you've got a 38 currently. And then your last roll is your Mason's Tools abilities. So you don't have Mason's Tools. You are not proficient in Mason's Tools. So this is just going to be a straight dexterity check, which is just a +3. Here we go. with a 6 plus 3 is a 9, taking the total from 38 to 47. So 47 divided by 3 is something. 47 divided by 3 would be 16-ish. It would round up to 16. So that's a total of 16 from the 3 checks. You could use your lucky horseshoe or your inspiration to re-roll that last one if you want, with the d6. Sorry, the d20 that rolled a 6. 16 out of 20 is good. I mean, it's not out of 20 though, is it? Like if you'd rolled a 25 on all of them, you'd have got a 25 total average. I got some yeses and some nos here. Spir's doing most of the work anyway. Won't make much of a difference, I think. All right. So you, I think we're going with a no. I think the nose. Wait, do the nose have it here? Oh, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. I think the nose have got it in this last few. Yeah, these last few coming in have definitely tipped it into the nose. All right. So we're not going to use our lucky horseshoe. We are going to we're going to leave it at an average of 16. 16 is good. 16 is well above average, and you're doing a good job of it. Seed comes along and helps out at certain points as well, which lowers the DC, and Spir being there with his mold earth thing is lowering the DC as well. So you're doing a good job of fixing up this cauldron. Essentially what it's going to do is it's going to take you the best part of a day. You're going to fix up the outside exterior of this cauldron, and you're going to have it done by nightfall tonight. There is a break at some point during the day to deal with another one of the wildfires that starts nearby. You rush off to try and help Julius fixing it, but by the time you get there, he's gotten the control weather happening, and he's already raining on the fire and keeping it controlled. But you can tell it's taking the toll on him. He's getting tired doing this every day now, and the frequency is increasing slightly. So you're trying your best to just do what you can to fix this fire sentinel so that you can get the borders between the planes a little bit more solidified. Make sure we're in shade while we're working. Get Spir to mold earth over us. Yeah, we could try that, or let's see what the weather's like anyway. It might be raining. It is slightly drizzly throughout the day, which means it's mostly overcast. So that helps with Julius's control weather, because he doesn't have to do too much to change it from drizzly to downpour to extinguish the flames. And it also helps with you not having to worry about standing in the sunlight. It is overcast, not exactly raining, but overcast and drizzly. Going to try and harvest some of that wildfire before it goes out completely. I'll say you can do so, and you take it back as a burning log, kind of like the end of Jungle Book, and you're like running through the forest with this burning branch, like trying to make sure that it stays lit. And you take it back to the cauldron and just kind of light a wee campfire off to the side with it to be like, this is magical fire. And you make sure that it's like in a safe zone. You've got like a fire pit of rocks around it and stuff, and you're hoping to keep that burning. You're not sure if that's going to help with lighting this thing. By the end of the day, there's only been one wildfire today, and by the end of the day you have gotten, I'd say, like 92% finished on the cauldron. By the time you are approaching a level of exhaustion and need to sleep to avoid that. So you have an option, essentially. You can push on and get a level of exhaustion, but you finish the cauldron today, or you can call it a day, go to sleep, and continue again tomorrow. Thumbs up for push on. Thumbs down for don't worry, just sleep on it. Can Spir continue while we encourage them with the bagpipes? You could try and encourage them with bagpipes. All right, definitely thumbs up for yes. All right, so you are going to push on. You are going to finish the cauldron in the next couple of hours after nightfall with Spir in tow as well. You, Spir, and Seed all get a level of exhaustion as you work on this thing the most part of the day. But eventually, with the only light given out from the small campfire of magical fire, elemental fire nearby, you can take a step back and see the profile sort of lit up of this huge 20-foot diameter cauldron of this elven person's head, you, from having met them in a vision of sorts, a dream of sorts, you know the name of the person who has the fire elemental sentinel, and it began with an S, maybe? I don't remember exactly. Shirakil, thank you, Shirakil. Don't say her name in front of Spir, though. We don't want to teach him more than necessary. Plus, that feels extremely private. Yes. Yeah, you think Wraith remembers? Something's telling you that Wraith knows the name. Can Seed go back to the village to keep the feast going? Yes, Seed goes back to the village at nightfall. Leaves you guys to finish the cauldron alone. Don't say the name unless we absolutely need to, which I don't think we'll need to. No. Alright, so you take a step back from the cauldron and you look at it and you are excited. You give Spir a high five. You have to teach Spir what a high five is. And then you just hold your hand like this, and then I do that.
So we just clap, but like together, like collaborative clapping.
That's the weirdest way to describe it, yes, but it's collaborative clapping. It's called a high five, and it's sort of like a, yeah, we did a good thing.
Right. Fascinating. And that's a dwarf thing?
It's just a thing. It just is a thing. High fives, roll for initiative. Yeah. Sure, it's a dwarf thing. Sure, it's a dwarf thing. Right. Well, we're gonna need to put that in there now. Let's see if we can light this thing, shall we?
Yes. After you.
I guess I will. You look around, you walk off and get some firewood, like a big long branch of something, and you put it in the fire till eventually it catches. And you walk around the back of the cauldron and you climb up onto the mold earth steps that have been placed up to the back so that you could work inside of it. And you just drop the fire inside of the cauldron. Doesn't seem to do anything. It's just the stick just lands in the center of the cauldron and just kind of burns a little bit. Okay. We need to put some kindling in, I suppose. Let's see if we can put some. Spir casts mold earth and just raises up the 5-foot ground on which you've got the campfire and just kind of like shifts it towards you, and then just like brings it up as like a pillar of dirt until it's like level with the edge of the cauldron, and then just like raises one side of it until it starts to slide the entire campfire off of this earth and into the and the campfire into the base of this thing scatters a bit. Okay. Not that then. More wood, maybe? Yeah, you run off to try and find more wood, and you after a while you've got a point of exhaustion now, so survival check with disadvantage to see how quickly it takes you to find firewood. With disadvantage, that is a 3 or a 2, so the 2 plus your forest bonus. You have a 2 from your wisdom takes it to a 4. 3 from your proficiency in survival takes it to a 7, and then forest bonus. I forget every time. Does forest bonus give you just a flat +2, or does it give you your proficiency bonus again on top of that? Either way, it's either a 9 or a 10. It's not exactly a good number. It's been drizzly all day, so you can find wet wood for the most part. Yeah, it's not doing well. So you can't see the forest for the trees. Yeah, you bring back some amount of wood because as a ranger, even a 10 is like average. So it is proficiency. Thank you. You bring back the wet wood and you drop it in, hoping that the magical fire will help to dry it out. But the wet wood sort of extinguishes the magical fire somewhat. It like dulls it down. It's still like burning embers, but not much going on in there. You're like, well, damn. Okay, well the cauldron's fixed. I'll sleep on it, and we'll try again in the morning, I suppose. And now you're gonna have to climb in and clean out all of that wood if it's not the right thing to do. Yes. All right, so you're about to go to sleep. You set up with Spir again. You snuggle into your bedroll off to the side where you were sleeping yesterday as well. You've tried to make sure you're underneath the canopy of the trees in case it gets properly drizzly and rainy throughout the night. What do you want to do? Do you want to ask the dice a question before you go to sleep? Thumbs up for ask the dice a question. All right, yes, we're going to ask the dice a question. All right, so what are we going to ask the dice? And then I assume we're going to ask this dice the same question 3 times to get some more data on what the likelihood is of it randomizing. We're going to ask the dice, do we need magical fire to finish the Sentinel? Okay, is that what we're going to ask the dice? Any other proposals for the question that we need to ask? Is what we need to fix the Fire Sentinel on the material plane? That's a good one. Is what we need to fix the Fire Sentinel on the material plane? Something along the lines of, does there need to be an elemental fire in the bowl to fix the Fire Sentinel? That could also be good. Just the same question as yesterday. Can we pray to Shirokil and ask for guidance after we ask the dice? You can get to that, Sasha? Yeah, we're currently working out what we're going to ask the dice, though. Seems like we've got 2 options. Oh, did we fix the Fire Sentinel properly already? That could be it. So we've got 3 options then. We've got, did we fix the Fire Sentinel properly already? Is what we need to fix the Fire Sentinel on the material plane? And do we need magical fire to fix the Fire Sentinel? Is that what we're asking? Any other options? So let's put those 3 to a poll. Isn't the magic fire now on the material plane? It is, yes. But you are narrowing it down. If you say, do we need magic fire specifically, then you know whether you need magic fire. If you say, do we need something on the material plane, and you get a yes, then you don't know that it's the magic fire that it's referring to. It's like asking, does he have red hair and a hat in Guess Who, rather than just does he have red hair. If you are correct, you get a much closer answer, but if you're not correct, you haven't eliminated all that many. With 63% of you asking, is it on the material plane? So, is what we need to properly fix the elemental on the material plane currently. You look into the cauldron before you ask this dice and ascertain that yes, there is still an element of the elemental embers are still burning at the bottom of this cauldron. So you are confident that if it is elemental fire that you need, you will get the answer of wheel. But if it is not elemental fire that you need, and it is something that is not on this particular plane of existence, you will get the answer of woe. So you know that's what you've told yourself. So asking yourself that question is what we need to properly fix the elemental Fire Sentinel on the material plane of existence right now. Okay. You get the feeling as each of the dice strike the surface you're throwing them on. You are inundated with a series of sensations. There is a sensation of being high in a mountain range, so high that the air is too thin to breathe. You get the impression of finding it hard to catch a breath, finding it hard to, like, just almost on the verge of suffocation. You're then hit with a cold, blistering, biting wind that is reducing your body temperature from the wind chill being so high. You have the sensation of your eyes being dried out by a wind blowing against them, and the sense of smoke hitting your nose, like a horrible burning smoke. You are given the sense of woe, and every one of the sensations is somehow linked to the element of air. You are reminded that in order to fix the earth, well, in order to fix the fire, as far as you know, you needed elements from the material plane of Earth. In order to get to the material plane of Earth safely, you needed to fix the Earth Sentinel. In order to fix the Earth Sentinel, you needed a plant that was found in the Feywild. In order to get to the Feywild safely, you needed to sprinkle water over the portal to find the portal to the plane of the Feywild. You needed water. In order to fix the Water Sentinel, you needed, and so on and so on and so on. And you are reminded that each one seems to lead domino-like to the next. And it seems that in order to fix the plane of air, you needed someone who could clear out the cave-in of dirt and rock. And if you fix the plane of air, fire requires air in order to breathe, and a permanent fire would require a permanent source of oxygen and fuel. And it seems that perhaps that there is some connection to something you're missing in the cauldron that you have not yet created for the cauldron. You pieced it together and just created a single simple basin, but there is some kind of something missing from the basin that is related to the plane of air, it seems. So, same question again. You immediately, upon this revelation, you immediately think about the same question again, you word it the same way again, and you roll a dice. You get the same sensations as the dice hit the surface that it's landing on, the same biting wind, the same drying out oxygen, the same inability to breathe, the suffocation feeling. You are left with a feeling of woe. A bellows, Wraith says. Indeed. A bellows indeed. As you pick up the dice to ask the question again, Spir speaks up and says,
You did this last night as well. What is this game you're playing?
Can you teach me? And Spir earth glides back up out of the ground and comes over to you. It seems that Spir thinks that you're playing some sort of solitaire dice game, or dropping the dice and picking them up again. Maybe it's some kind of like, what do they call them? Jumping jacks or like knuckle bones or something. It's not really a game. It's something I do to think. It's sort of just like a bedtime ritual of mine. Just something I do, a superstition thing. Apis, make a deception check, please. You are trying to hide information, and deception is about your ability to do so without him reading it on your face that you are hiding information from him. You're great at deception. You're great at deception. All right, so you have a point of exhaustion, so this is going to be at disadvantage. You have a +1 and no proficiency in deception, so you have just a +1. Disadvantage with a +1. There is no forest bonus for this. Alright, that is a nat 20 or a 14. So the 14 + 1 is a 15. With a 15, what's his insight? Alright. He either doesn't believe you and doesn't show it, or he just straight believes you. As you tell him, yeah, there's it's just kind of something I do as a ritual. It's just it helps me think, helps me sort of slow my mind down and put my mind on something else before I go to sleep. They say, oh right, what is it? Do you like? Is it like a mantra? Like you're chanting something? I don't really. I just think of something to say, and then I sort of something that my mind is thinking of, and I just kind of put it out there because then it's not in my. You know how it is when you're trying to go to sleep, and you've got the same sort of worries about something that's going to happen tomorrow or something that's not going to happen, and you're worried about it, and you're sort of obsessing over it again and again. Whereas if I sort of like have something like I find the dice really work, like I put the question out there into the world, and then I just kind of roll the dice, and it puts that question into the dice, and then it gets it out of my head. I suppose I feel like I can. He goes,
"Oh, excellent! That's it seems like a very mature way of dealing with things. Maybe I'll try that mindful technique myself." Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought process. I apologize. Well, I better go to sleep then. We'll try again in the morning.
Yeah, try again in the morning. You wait for him to walk off and earth glide down into the ground, and then you ask the dice the question again. Same wording as before. And you roll the dice, and you get the same result as before. It feels bitingly cold wind drying on your eyes. There's a sense of suffocation. There's the smell of smoke. There's like a... how does taste manifest in air form? Something to do with the plane of air, but also taste. I'm not sure how to use that one. It's how we channel our OCD, yeah. You could just give us a graph. Not going to do it. Not going to happen. Clicky clack sounds are soothing. Turn him into a dice goblin attracted to click clack noises. Again. Alright, you pick up the dice for a 4th time. Hey look, we've got a tracker. You've used the dice 3 times already today. When your tongue is really dry and you can't taste things so well. Yeah, I thought about drying out the tongue, but that's kind of also just a sensation rather than a negative taste related to meringue. Yeah, the like a souffle. You can taste souffle, but like a really bad souffle. You taste some disgusting meringue. I like that. Some disgusting meringue and some disgusting souffle and some disgusting like really airy. What's that pastry that's like puff pastry? Is it? That's super filled with air. Unflavored popcorn. Yeah, that's good. That gross taste you get of stale air. That musty. You get a musty taste as if you've walked into a crypt that hasn't been opened in many years, and there's that kind of taste in the air. All right. Then you pick it up for a 4th time, and you roll the dice. And let's see. You get, okay, he's going to test some things. You get some of the same sensations again, the drying, biting eyes of the wind, but then you get the sensation of the freedom of what it would be like to be a bird. You feel yourself flying, in control of your descent, falling with style. You also get this sort of, instead of a bitingly cold wind, you get a refreshing breeze across your skin that is that when you're feeling hot and a breeze passes by to cool you down. It is both weal and woe. And it tastes like marmalade? Why would it taste like marmalade? What's the air there? This time you taste meringue, but it's like good meringue. Well-made meringue. Pavlova, yeah. Cotton candy, yeah, cotton candy's a good one. You can taste cotton candy. All right. So you get the impression after the 4th time using the dice to ask it the same question that the answer was both weal and woe. So you grab the dice, you put it back in the personalized box, Apis, and you put the box back in your position. Then you roll over and you go to sleep, knowing that whatever it is that you need is probably on the plane of air. Overnight, your dreams are not memorable, and you wake up in the morning fully rested. In the morning, we check on our dice and other stuff to see if it was disturbed in the night. Doesn't seem like it was. Nope. All of your belongings are there. Spir is awake early, and you can see them standing on top of like a huge earth pillar that's just standing up out of the ground, like above the tree canopy line, just sort of sitting cross-legged, hands on the chin, just staring at the sun. Probably not a good idea, but they've never seen the sun before, and they don't necessarily know that it's not a good idea. Can we find Julius without entering the village? So we can tell them we're moving on to the air sentinel in order to fix the fire sentinel. You can look around to try and find Julius, yes. You start to pack away your bedrolls and such. Ask Seed if you can whittle dice for Spir, so Spir has a souvenir and can try our method. You could also do that. nice as it is to fix these sentinels, I'm getting really eager to go back home now. Yeah. In order to fix the in order to get the portal back home, you need to fix the air sentinel. Spir could make some dice out of stone. Yeah. All right, so we check the while we are here by the cauldron, we check the area around the cauldron for if there's a place that there could be bellows attached to the cauldron. And I'm going to roll you an investigation check. Your exhaustion went away during the night, so you're no longer exhausted. So that is an 11. 11 plus your investigation of +3 from intelligence is a 14. With a 14, you look around for places where there might be bellows, and you are hit with a realization that while you were putting things together yesterday, with your 16 average check to fix this sentinel not being quite enough to realize this during the time, you now realize with the added information that you were having difficulty around the jaw of this thing because you couldn't find the pieces that went together into a single form, into a single like bowl, and now you realize that was maybe because you were making a false assumption that this cauldron was indeed a single bowl. Now you realize maybe around the jaw and the mouth there were pieces that seemed like it should be overlapping, because you realize now it probably was overlapping. The jaw itself has a hinged mechanism where the jaw goes inside of the cauldron and is a separate piece to it, because the jaw itself can drop open a little bit and open a little gap at the where would be the base of the fire and let air into the base of the fire. So you now need to refix this cauldron, take off the bits that you glued together with your plastering job essentially, break off the part that was the jaw, fix all of that so that it is in two separate pieces that sort of hinges together, and then find some way to hinge it. And then you'd also need to work out some way of continually having this air circulate through the fire. Fire in the cauldron, air through the mouth. That seems to be the way to do it, yes. We explain all of this to Spir, we get his attention, get their attention. Spir, I think I know what we did wrong here. And Spir eventually just drops this pillar down, turns around and says, what is this? You are a green dot. Why are you a green dot? You say you were looking at the sun. You've blinded yourself. Don't look at the sun. It's bright lights, and you explain simple things. Giggle at him for a bit. Right, if you blink, you can still see the dot. Yes. Yes, I can. What's going on? Am I dying? Not dying. Just not good for you to look at it. Just be careful. We did the equivalent of shoving the last jigsaw piece in. Yeah, you found a piece that should have, like, you were like, the striations of this rock seem to go with this one. So this is definitely, these jigsaw pieces go together. And these jigsaw pieces go together, but this one also goes with this one. So now we've got like two overlapping jigsaw pieces that definitely go with each other. And so you just like took one of them off and forced the other two together is what you did. So you need to like take that apart and fix the damage you did on both pieces and then put them back over. And yes, indeed, the two jigsaw pieces are meant to stack. Let's just blame Spir for fixing that part. Yeah, totes their problem. So you explain this, Spir nods and that makes a lot of sense. And then you say, right, well, in order to fix this, I feel like we're going to need the air elements, the elemental plane of air, to have like a constant circulation of air into this fire, so that it's a constant fire at the sort of heat and the size of that the fire needs to be for a 20-foot diameter fire. It's going to need a lot of air circulating into it. So I think we're going to have to fix the air sentinel first. So you turn around and you set off out of this particular location looking for Julius to see where he's around. Do we know the way to the Myconids? Seedflu was there last time. You do know the direction to the Myconids, but you can't get there on your own without somebody flying you there or a long walk. Guardian, not Sentinel. Yes, Ep says Guardian, not Sentinel. You set off towards in the direction of in the direction of the village, but not going all the way to the village, not with the intention of going to the village. You set off in that direction, just hoping that Julius bumps into you at some point, and you're looking out for him somewhere. Is Mel with us? Maybe we can send her looking. That's a good idea as well. You call down Mel. Mel, could you have a look for Julius, please? I'd like to have a word with him.
Yes, of course, I will. I will find him now.
Zzz. Up into the sky, sets off looking for Julius. We need a Julius whistle. Yeah, because he's not going to find that disrespectful at all. The guardian of this entire forest, and you can just summon him like a common familiar. Just play the panpipes. You'll disturb so much of the forest that Julius will feel an inherent evil in the air. There's something disturbing my critters. To cut a long story short, you'll walk for another 15 minutes or so before Mel starts to return, and you hear you don't hear because he can move silently through the forest when he wants to. You see this sort of glowing of light behind you on the trees ahead. They start to illuminate a little, indicating that there's something with a light source coming from behind. And you turn around. You feel a disturbance in the forest. And Julius trots towards you into the open air and says, "I take it you've not had success with the Fire Sentinel." And you say in telepathic communication, you say, "I have had success with fixing it, but..." And you explain the whole circumstances, and Julius says, "Ah, yes, okay, that makes sense. Then I suppose it's onwards to the plane of air, the airplane, onwards to the Air Sentinel." And you say, "Yeah, I suppose so. Pretty exhausted from yesterday, but I think we can still power through, knuckle down, and get some work done today, with Spir's help." And you gesture towards him, and Spir says, "Hey, what are you saying? I can't... What is happening?" And you're like, "Oh, sorry, just talking into the heads telepathically. I know it's weird that from your perspective I'm just standing here looking at this unicorn, but we were talking about fixing the Sentinel." Right, okay, yeah. With Spir's help, I'm sure that we can remove the stuff, excavate the cavern, and maybe it's a day or two of fixing it. We'll see," Julius says, not liking your chances. "Can we try stepping there first, please?" Sure. So Julius says, "Right, well, no time like the present, I suppose. Step on up and place your hand on me." And you say, before we do that, I'm just gonna test something real quick. I'll probably be with you in a second. All right. So how we are going with testing our abilities to teleport at will, essentially. For those who are relatively new, you may need a brief explanation here. You are a fighter multiclass. You can tell on your character sheet over there. You are a 5-level ranger, 2-level fighter. And the ranger levels you took were in Horizon Walker. Horizon Walkers in my games are very rare creatures. They are there's a little bit of a genetic component, but otherwise people don't really know where they come from. They are a once in a generation kind of a thing, and they are a type of planar guardian, essentially. Leading theories from what you've read about them. Leading theories are that the gods, when they created the worlds, they were constantly in flux about let's just mush these two worlds together. We don't need them to be two. Or vice versa. They go, I don't like that world. Let's split it into two worlds. And then those worlds have a tendency to want to get back together again or force themselves back apart again. And they okay, I like the Fae. Now let's just scrap it. They etch a sketch, get rid of a world entirely. And they're constantly doing this with all of the different planes of existence back in the very early days of the universe, as it were. And so they're all over the place with creating worlds and things. And so by doing so, they've created these. They've left behind a bunch of portals and weakened veils between the worlds, and and areas where you can cross from one part to another if you say the right words, or if you do the right thing, or just if you happen to be stumbling in the right direction, or if you're feeling a certain emotion, you might find yourself in the Shadowfell. And these things are not the greatest for security of the different denizens of these worlds. And so the gods created Horizon Walkers. Once in a blue moon, every few generations, they will chuck in a Horizon Walker somewhere to be born and be like, hey, you've got extra powers that other people of your species don't have. You have inherent abilities to detect where portals are and where weaknesses are. You have abilities to use the planar force energy, the sort of raw building energy of the universe, which is known as force. You can use that to empower your strikes. You have extra damage against certain creatures from other planes of existence to like force them back to their own planes. You have magic around like jumping and teleporting and things like Misty Step and Dimension Door and stuff like this. And Horizon Walkers have a better chance of being able to teleport than others and to step into other planes to get around where they need to be. On top of that, each Horizon Walker is specialized differently. I have basically the sorts of work you do as a Horizon Walker, you get better at as a Horizon Walker. So as Apis has been going throughout this campaign so far, I have given you certain abilities that other Horizon Walkers don't have. Like, every Horizon Walker has the ability to detect a portal, but they can do it a limited number of times a day and blah, blah, blah. And it has like certain radiuses and blah, blah, blah. You have an extension of that, which manifests as a little blue beetle called TomTom. And TomTom lives on your person somewhere, and even when you're naked, you don't know where he is, but he's just, when you need him, he's there. He just sort of pops out of the underneath your bracer for the most part. He usually just comes out into your palm, and then you can ask TomTom the direction to the nearest portal, and he will go in that direction. And unlike other Horizon Walkers, you can specify what type of portal you're looking for and things like that. So I've given you certain extensions. One of these extensions is that you can attempt to just teleport. You can attempt to unlock a later Ranger Horizon Walker ability earlier than you should be able to by rolling a certain dice. Wraith is, so far, I think, the only person who remembers to do this, because Wraith is really excited for the day that it finally works. But unfortunately for Wraith, there is only a 1 in 1,000 chance of it succeeding, because what I do is I roll a percentage dice, which is your D10 for the units column, a D percentage for the tens column, and then I also roll another dice here that is a D1000 for the hundreds column. So, Wraith, you've tried this a few times now, and you're getting slightly better at it each time. So instead of a 1 in 1,000 chance, you've got a 1 in 998 chance now. Meaning that if I roll triple zeros or 001, I'm going to re-roll it. So I'm going to go with rolling this dice, and if I get a particular number, you do manage to teleport. Way earlier than you should be able to, because teleport's a 7th level spell. Even as a ranger, you never unlock 7th level spells. So Wraith, 753 is the number you're going for. If I roll a 7 on the blue, 7. If I roll a 5 on the tens column and I roll a 3 on this dice, then I get 753 and you successfully teleport. If I get a 0 or a 1, I reroll. Has to be exact. What if we're off by one number? Then it doesn't work. That is a 048 for a 48 total. 048 for 48. 48 is not 753, so it does not work. So you tell Julius, give me a second, I just need to try something real quick. And you take a step back and you think, how am I going to do this? The Merry Gentleman wants me to unlock inherent abilities within myself and I don't know how to do it. So you think about what it feels like when you plane a warrior. That's becoming second nature to you by now. You've done that a lot. You know how to call on the sort of static electricity tingly sensation across your skin, the hairs that kind of stand up when you think about it. You can summon that right now. You could summon that into your fist and punch something, and you'd know that you'd be able to summon that magic. So you think maybe it's something like that. You also think about what it feels like to Misty Step, because you can do that relatively second nature now as well. You think about, okay, when I Misty Step, I have to think about where I'm going to, and think about what the circumstances of being there would look like, what the temperature is in that particular spot, and what the surface is like, what it would feel like to be standing on that ground, what the light is like on my face if I was standing over there instead of here. And you have to picture yourself being in that position, and then you have to tap into that force energy, that magic, and then step over to that position. But to do that over a grand distance where you don't even know where you're going to be going, all you can do is, the best you can do is you can think of, I mean, I've been there. I can think of the Myconid's hut, and you try and picture the Myconid's hut around you, but you don't know what the current temperature is. You don't know what the current light level is over there. You don't know what it smells like in that position. You just can't tap into what the magic is that you need to be able to transpose your own atoms from where they are now to where you're wanting to go. And after 30 seconds of trying, you just think, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know how to make this work. Why don't we just take 1,000? Take 1,000 to make sure it works. You are done trying that for the day, so you'd have to take 1,000 days to do that. Stop guessing wrong. Julius, would you help me contact my friend Vala to have some news on the situation around Shadridge? Julius says, I don't know your friend Vala. How would I do so? There's no way that you can get in touch with someone you don't know? I can send an animal messenger if Vala is close. Do you know the destination or the direction? I know the destination. I don't know the direction. It's back where I came from. Oh, you're not from anywhere around here. So if this Vala is back home near where you were, there's no chance of you contacting her with an animal messenger, right? Yeah. And okay, never mind then. Are we still waiting, or are you? No, sorry, I did what I was trying to do. You walk over and you place your hand on the haunches of this this horse, this unicorn, sorry. And as Spir does the same as well, like comes over and places the hand on the unicorn, you feel like your hand is kind of glued to him temporarily, as you feel this pulling, this sensation of being sucked down into a single, into a singularity, a single point, a zero-dimensional being where all of your dimensions and atoms are being pushed down into one. It is not a very pleasant experience, but it's a very brief experience. It kind of rebounds as soon as it's in, it's out again. There is this bright white golden light in your eyes as you adjust to your new positioning, and you find yourself standing in another part of a forest near the mouth of a cave. There's a river running by you on your right hand side, and you're on the shore of this river bank, and there's a mouth of a cave to your left. Julius says the Myconids are just through there. Be careful of any dormant traps. I think they've all been disarmed by Lazengan and Team Guran, but there could be some more dormant ones. The kobolds used to live in this cave, so just be mindful of traps. And then the unicorn bounced back to where he was. Seed did not come with you because you weren't with Seed at the time, but Seed can turn into an owl and fly, so if Seed wants to make his own way here, he can. Just do a downtime of 1,000 days and roll the dice 1,000 times. You wouldn't need to, because every time you try and fail, the chance goes up by 1. You go down to a 1 in 997 chance next time you try it. If we get another beetle to help us with this ability, I say we call it Scotty. Really try and feel this so that we can recreate it in our step attempt tomorrow. Yeah, you try to remember the feeling of what it felt like to teleport with Julius in tow, and you can try and reattempt it tomorrow. So you enter the cave. You you wander on in there. There is a false wall in the back that doesn't take you very long to find, especially with your stone cunning tremor sense. You can just tell that the stone wall is not actually real. And you lift it up from beneath, and sure enough, there is a trap behind it, but it is disarmed. It looks like as the door, sort of like a garage door situation, as the door of this wall lifts up, it knocks off another thing which swings down to smash into you like a swinging log. It's just a very simple trap, but as you walk in, you see that this thing hasn't been reset. It's just hanging there loose. It's kind of like a punching bag, but just made of a hanging log. And you look at the entrapment and realize how it would have worked. You wander around it. You walk past a section of the cave where there is a disarmed bear trap just sitting off to the side, kind of dusty, not used in a while. You also find some dried blood on the ground, like months old dried blood, and a couple of remnants of dead kobolds. And walking around, following it around to the left, you see some myconids too. This, by the way, just as an indication, this is the very first dungeon that I ever ran in my first game of D&D. The party, the first game of D&D as a dungeon master, the party came into this particular dungeon and disarmed all of these traps and killed these kobolds and things. For future reference, her name is Nami, the Air Sentinel. In case you need it and can't find it, thank you, Wraith. Nami. I did have Nami on my document. I don't know why I didn't have the Fire Sentinel. You wander in until you find you encounter some myconids who come over to you and spore you. There's a cloud of spores that come out. You can choose to avoid it, or you can choose to breathe it in. If you choose to avoid it, it's a Constitution saving throw, but you happen to know from experience of being with these myconids that this spore situation is a way that they communicate. It latches onto the sort of language center of your brain, and then they can telepath with you for a limited amount of time. Some dialogue up there. Spir, I should warn you, the people we're about to speak with having us breathe in their spores, so you'll be fine. You pre-warn Spir about that, and Spir, having understood you, says he also actually responds, mushroom folk, right? Myconids. He seems like he's met myconids before and knows how they communicate. Myconids can be found on the plane of Earth as well. And as an ambassador and a diplomat, he is familiar with different cultures. You breathe in the spores, and you are instantly connected to all these different minds. This like hive mind network, this mushroom fungal mind, and you are thrust into this state of being able to communicate with any one of them. You can try and turn your thoughts off to any one of them at a time, but it takes a little bit of a conscious effort to do that. The default state is just everybody can kind of just read your mind and talk to you and implant messages in your mind as needed. You have to actively close your mind to them if you want to do that. Hello, friends. We've come back to see about fixing that tunnel for you. The myconids are very pleased, and they lead you through the caves to the Sovereign. The Sovereign myconid being this huge tree-like sized mushroom, like at least like 12 feet tall, big wide dude. He's seemingly not moved since you were last here. But upon arriving, he just speaks to you telepathically. You explain your circumstances, where you've been, how you've got a guy in tow who can help with moving Earth now with his mind and magic, and so happy to come and help start clearing out that cave. The Sovereign is super pleased for you and agrees to send you back home through their mushroom teleportation network that they have going on. Basically, one of the reasons you wanted to clear out this cave in the first place is not only is it an air sentinel, which is in the mold, as it were, of an elven woman, Nami, but it's also growing inside of that long, tall cave is a huge, long, tall mushroom that these myconids sort of worship and tend to. And each myconid colony around the globe has one of these mushrooms, and they are connected in some way by their network of spores, essentially, and they can use it as a transport via plants, where you can step into one of them and step out of another elsewhere in the world. It's a teleportation circle of sorts, essentially. So he is unable to get to that, and therefore the myconid colony has been cut off from the other myconid colonies of the globe because of this cave-in. So two birds with one stone: fix the air sentinel and free up the myconid's ability to teleportation, means that you will have access to finally return home to your own myconid colony, and from there make your way back to Shadridge. So he agrees that if you are able to, as soon as you are able to clean out the cave properly and reconnect them to their mushroom network, he is happy to, as thanks and payment, send you home. Should we ask them how to become less mushroomy when it's convenient? Self-insight, see if there's any additional effects to us breathing in the spores while being part myconid ourselves. Self-insight, you sort of touch base with yourself and you don't feel any different. Over the last few days that you've been moving around and doing your things, you haven't felt any further advantages, disadvantages, changes to your person about being part myconid. It seems the progression into myconid has ceased. You are as myconid as you are going to get. The 4 effects and features and traits that you have gotten from turning into a mushroom are stationary and will always remain the same. Namely that every 10 minutes you heal 1 hit point. If you are ever disconnected from ground or dirt or earth, you start to feel anxious. If you are ever in the sunlight for any 10-minute period out of any 15-minute period, I think it is, you have the poisoned condition, and you also have the ability to connect to the emotions of plants and funguses around you. You can tap into sort of the network of feeling what plants are feeling. So those 4 effects and features and traits are yours to keep until you find a way to get rid of them, if you want to get rid of them. So before heading out to fix this cave, then you do run it by the Sovereign. Like, out of curiosity, the spores that you gave me to fix my memory problem, is that a thing I can change? You ask him about removing this, and he ultimately tells you he doesn't know. He doesn't, like, maybe you could, maybe you can't. He's never had to remove it from somebody before. He doesn't use it on outsiders all that much. Outsiders that come here usually live with it if they do need that particular brown mold. But people who aren't myconids having problems with memories coming to these guys specifically to fix that memories, and fixing those memories using brown mold and turning into mushrooms, and then also not wanting that. There's a very niche, very rare circumstance, and you're the first one, so he hasn't got experience with trying to remove it again afterwards. So this guy's not going to be your port of call to fixing that. Somebody like Vala, who studies magic, might have better ways of doing so, or going to a temple of healing, like a temple of Flonantrail, where all of the clerics and God of the Life domain. Those guys might be the sort of people to talk to. This guy's just a big mushroom that is in charge of a big mushroom village. Everything's pretty okay except for the getting poisoned when out in sunlight condition. That one's the worst and quite a bother, yes. Alright, so you set off with Spir in tow, and you head to the through the underground caverns to the cave-in, the blocked-up cave-in, and you get to work. Spir starts to mold down the dirt into the ground, or move it out and move it into like wheelbarrows and things. The myconids turn up with various different carts and wheelbarrows and things like that to try and like help you move stuff away. And Spir is doing the vast majority of the work. He's really doing the lion's share. Spir is happy to help, but also very clear that he's not doing this for free, as it were. Like, not because he wants payment, but because he wants to he's quite clearly trying to ingratiate himself with the sovereign mushroom, the sovereign myconid. He's wanting to make connections. Spir's payment for helping you out here on this the material plane seems to be, I want to talk to people, I want to meet people, I want to network with people, I want to have a network of powerful people that are friends of mine that owe me favors. He's trying to curry favor, yeah. He's trying to curry favor, yum. He's a clout chaser, yeah. For reasons that may be nefarious or may not, you're not sure exactly. Spir hasn't done anything to outrightly draw your suspicion since being on the material plane, but his definite desire for having powerful friends could be concerning, depending on why he's doing it. Collecting business cards and phone numbers, yeah. So he's happily doing his thing. For the most part, he's just using the cantrip Mold Earth, which he can do infinitely. But he has got other more powerful stuff. So when he comes up with larger rocks and things that are being a problem, he can use some of his spell slots to do that instead. To be fair, he's a diplomat. Yep, that is it. That is what he told you his job was: diplomat and ambassador. So it kind of fits with what he's told you about himself so far. Have we asked the dice about Spir yet? No, we have not. After, I'm going to say, after most of the day, you're helping as well, so let's roll an athletics check to see how well you're doing clearing out the way to the cavern. You're not even at the chasm yet. You're trying to clear out your journey to it. That is a 3. A 3 plus your athletics check is not that great. That is a 7 total. So between you, it's taking most of the day. You've stopped for lunch and rations at some point. The mushrooms have delivered you some kind of like some sort of gruel, a bowl of gruel or something. A mushroom fungus-based gruel soup that you kind of eat alongside your rations for flavor. But the other thing's kind of this slop, protein slop essentially. After most of the day of uncovering something, you start to smell smoke. And very quickly, from the point of smelling smoke to the point of seeing smoke is only a second or so. And then looking around for where the source of the smoke is, it doesn't seem to be coming through the cracks of the rock ahead of you and in the place that you are excavating. And you turn around and it doesn't seem to be coming from behind. It is just kind of around you, like there is a smoke machine. And then it very quickly coalesces around you, getting thicker and thicker. And within the space of a couple of seconds, it has surrounded you in this dark smoke and started to suffocate you. And you start to take suffocation damage as you realize that this sentient smoke elemental is attacking. And as you and Spir and the surrounding myconids get attacked by a smoke elemental down here in the dark, I'm going to end it there, and we're going to pick up here in episode 88. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Friends, fans, and fine folk, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part was.